When you're ready. All right, Friday. Welcome in the NBA tip-off show here, powered by WagerTalk.com. As I think we've got another 6 games in the association here tonight. And if you thought last night's card was fun, wait till you get a load of the crap we got to deal with here. The good news is you've got 3 of the best here with the NBA to help navigate through this 6-game slate as we welcome in the one and only Ski Profit in the house, as is Teddy Covers, ready to roll. Mr. Rob Vino here and ready to go. So who says they can't find anything to play here on this slate tonight? The contrarian gods have found something to play. And we're going to take a look here, of course, at the San Antonio Spurs. Well, who wants to get in front of that Denver train? San Antonio does. 10.5 right now, guys, from 9.5. 223 as a total. Ski, I mean, at some point, this train got to slow down in Denver, don't it? I mean, come on, 10.5. Are you buying tonight?
Well, I'm going to be completely honest. I must have been, I don't know what I was looking at the Clipper game here. But for this game, I have to say, there's no way that I can bet against Denver. Like, I talked about that with the Miami revenge spot. Denver is just too good, and they're healthy right now. As long as they've been healthy, they've been able to blow teams out by double digits easily. The Spurs, however, do have the rest advantage. They have been playing good too. They've covered 6 out of 8, but I'm just not in the business of betting against Denver right now. So it's Nuggets or pass for this better.
Ooh, Nuggets or pass. I mean, not Teddy, there are some trains you don't want to get in front of. But then there again, there are some very overpriced tickets for those trains. So the question is here, are you thinking 10.5, no brainer for Denver on the road? Or do the Spurs have any value in your mind at 10.5?
So like Ski, I'm not in a rush to bet in front of either one, step in front of either one of these 2 teams. So in this scenario, it's a matter of which of these 2 squads do I want to step in front of less. And for tonight, it's probably San Antonio. We look at Denver, and this is a clear flat spot on the Nuggets schedule. They had Miami last time, finals rematch. Up next, Dallas, then Minnesota, then the Knicks. And here's this little game at San Antonio where they just got to win and survive and advance. And Denver's not a team that tends to be, I'm not betting against Denver every one of their quote-unquote flat spots. They haven't been particularly flat spotty. They're not one of these teams that over and over again you're going to find, they don't show for their spot. Denver's a very consistent team, and they're a team I don't step in front of lightly. But San Antonio's bet on right now, all right? Most of these bottom feeders towards the tail end of the campaign, or many of these bottom feeders in many seasons, these are bet against teams. There's a good handful of bottom feeders right now. San Antonio's playing competitive basketball. Charlotte's playing competitive basketball. Memphis, Detroit. They haven't thrown the towel in on their season. And the Spurs have been making me money in recent weeks. 10.5 to me is a little bit too rich. I'll take the points. My number for the game is only 8.5. So, and I've got Denver again, power rated the second best team in the NBA behind Boston. So I could only take the points with San Antonio in this one.
Now, I like it, Teddy, with the contrarian gods on this one, Rob. I mean, to his point, I got San Antonio 9-4 against the number in its last 13. They were what felt like was on the road for that entire rodeo month, right? They come back home, they start playing some pretty decent basketball here. It feels like just an overinflated number. I get why the contrarian gods are looking at this. What do you think of this matchup here tonight against Denver?
Well, from a Denver perspective, Joe, I think what a difference a year makes. Because if I go back in time to last year, at this point in time, they had the West sewed up already. And they'd go out and they had a long streak where you could just fade Denver because they could care less. Then this year happens, and they're caught in that division with OKC and Minnesota, and they're caught in this race for number 1. I mean, when the All-Star break hit, they were not the number 1 seed in the West, and they're only tied for it at this point in time. But they had some catching up to do. Thus, we see 10-1 straight up since the All-Star break. straight up isn't going to get us there here unless you are really in the business of laying out a pile of money for a money line play. So you got to win by a good substantial margin here. And I'd probably be with Teddy here. I'd probably look the Spurs way to stay within the number. Denver doesn't have a game tomorrow, so they're not on the front end of a back-to-back, but they do face Dallas and Minnesota upcoming in their next two games. Those are going to be important, especially the Minnesota one. Denver's just on a quest right now to make everything run through the Mile High City. It's an advantage, to say the least, if you can get teams to have to play 4 out of 7 on that floor. It worked for them last year. They're good enough to make it work for them this year. So I don't doubt they win the game. But, that check of San Antonio's roster, and maybe it took this long, but 1 through 9, it's not a bad core of players. And when you watch them on a night in, night out basis, they're not bad. But they're starting to figure some things out right now. And, if Denver lets off the gas late, let's just say they're winning big, 5 minutes left in the fourth, and they let go of the pedal a little bit, San Antonio could always creep in backdoor because they're going to play hard for 48 minutes. I do worry a little bit, guys, as always, about their 14-win situation, and the couple of teams behind them in the race for the most ping pong balls have 12 and 11. So San Antonio you don't want to win games outright at this point in time and hurt yourself. But I think a loss within 10.5 might be in the cards here for them. So I'll try it. Contrarian play of the day, Spurs plus 10.5. How about me siding with the contrarian gods? I'm trying to avoid that.
God, this got ugly in a hurry here, Ski. I mean, San Antonio is disgusting, and we love it here on the contrarian play of the day. I want to take a second here. A big shout out to those of you guys joining us here on a couple of different spots here. Of course, YouTube. We appreciate you guys also on YouTube Shorts. In fact, we're coming to you live here. Big shout out to Big Daddy over there, Titan CT in the house, as well as GB, who apparently lost his ass in the NHL last night, but plans on making it back here tonight in the NBA. So good to see you. Have, Professor Chris in the house, Russell's here. Let's get it going here, gentlemen. One disgusting game in the books, and we're going to another one here with the Clippers taking on New Orleans here tonight. Yeah. I get it, Ski. The Clippers, 5th in 7 days, yada, yada. Who's playing? It might be. My goodness, this is a big number here, though. That seems to have been coming down, though. 7.5 to 7, maybe even a 6.5 popping up here. Entirely too many people excited about New Orleans in this spot. How about you?
Well, like I usually say, if I like New Orleans, I'm taking them early. First half, they're the second best team as far as against the spread. I believe they're 40 and 23. And they've had a lot of trouble this season closing games. So I always have that in the back of my mind. I kind of was leaning towards that direction, but the more I think about it, Clippers didn't exert too much energy yesterday. You could potentially get James Harden, who would be a lot fresher than the rest of them in this lineup.
Ooh.
And if they do, I can see them staying within the number, especially in a scenario where even if New Orleans is up, they may rest some guys at the end of the game to prepare for tomorrow. So, gun to my head, I mean, it's New Orleans first half. If you could do a double play, New Orleans first half, Clippers full game, that's probably how I would feel about it.
Oh, Ski, I kind of like that. Like where you're rolling there. I mean, Kawhi, in the last 5, I think he's missed 2 games, Teddy. So he hasn't played in all of these games here over this last week stretch. Harden had the shoulder injury, but he's going to be rested here. Paul George is the only question mark. But again, these guys, they've got some depth, and this feels like a big number here for the Clippers tonight. What are you thinking here? Is it New Orleans for you, or do the Clippers have any value?
If I'm playing, I'm laying. A very clear choice for me in this ball game. And you talked about it. 5 games in 7 nights for veteran teams is a problem. All right. Especially when they're coming off a win. This is clearly an exhale game for the LA Clippers. And we've looked at clips since the beginning of February. Since the All-Star break, 3 sets of back-to-backs, 0-3 ATS on the second night of those back-to-backs. To make matters worse for the Clippers, they're facing a Pelicans team off a pretty shoddy showing in their last ball game. New Orleans has been a real good team at times this season, but they were no shows after going 3-0 on their road trip against Cleveland in their last game. Willie Green was not amused by that performance, and New Orleans off a loss is bet on all the way against a very tired veteran Clippers team. If I'm playing, I'm laying.
Teddy laying if he's going with it here tonight with New Orleans here. Rob Vino, how about you here, my man? It's certainly an interesting spot, and I believe New Orleans is a couple of games shy of the Clippers, of course, when it comes to playoff seeding. I think Clippers are number 4 right now in the West, and I believe New Orleans a couple of games behind them. So, hey, a win here for New Orleans would certainly go a long way in helping them maybe get one of those home playoff series to start.
Yeah, it certainly would, Joe. And I'm always partial to home teams on Friday night at home if they're a good team. And New Orleans certainly, and they're in a bounce back situation. And Teddy hit on it. 95 points scored the other night, embarrassing loss. Shot 18% from 3. You can't do that if you're the New Orleans Pelicans. I wouldn't expect that to happen again. I'll echo a lot of what these guys already said ahead of me. I mean, you can't argue with Ski, get in and get out with New Orleans. It's been profitable all season long. I don't argue at all with Teddy. 5th and 7 nights for a veteran team. And a veteran team, the injury report is what it is at 4:29 East when we're recording this show. There's no saying that 2 hours from now, Kawhi doesn't show up. Somebody else shows up besides Harden. It's a team that last night I guessed wrong. I thought Kawhi would sit and Harden would play. Went just the opposite. Harden played, Kawhi sat. Or excuse me, Kawhi played and Harden sat. So you never know what combination of guys are going to be on the bench here and rested in this particular situation. So I don't take the injury report at 100% face value at this time of day. We'll see what happens as we go forward. But I would think New Orleans, for all of the reasons mentioned here and the standings that you just mentioned, Joe, which I look at every day because I think this jockey for playoff position in the West is so important to all of these teams. It would be a nice win. And maybe LA got their win last night, right? They show up basically without they're top 2 point guards, Harden and Westbrook on the bench, and they run out and score 126 anyway. So I would think that New Orleans is probably catching the Clippers in a very good spot here, and I'd be willing to lay the 6 rather than take it.
All right. Look, I'd rather lay it than take it. By the way, I'm kind of with you, Ski, and they're mentioning it. Have and Eric and company in the chat room are mentioning how the fourth quarter rating of the Pelicans is hot trash. In fact, the only team you trust less late in the game would be the Phoenix Suns, who are also hot ass in the fourth quarter. And I would not want to be holding a ticket, hoping that they can hold on here. So it is an interesting, certainly an interesting game. There are some thoughts that maybe I see Titan CT chiming in with the fact that the Clippers might just be better off without Harden. Time will tell on that one here, but it is an interesting game. And again, only 6 on the card here tonight. We do have, of course, 6 games means 6 dogs. The opportunity for one of them to be barking could be real, and these numbers are pretty impressive here tonight. So, Robert, let's check out what do we got for dogs here tonight.
That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. And anybody got to say anything, you let me know. That's my dog.
All right, now I'm warning you, this is some ugly ass right here. Look at the Hornets plus. Oh, we got Raptors, who I think Teddy's going to be starting with tonight. The Spurs we just talked about here. The Pistons taking on Miami. The Clippers we just mentioned. And, of course, the Utah Jazz taking on Atlanta in the late game. Utah at home here is a home dog. So not a whole lot to choose from, Ski. We got some ugliness here. Which one of these dogs might be barking, though, if you were looking?
Well, I was conflicted at first. I do think the Suns need to win games, et cetera, because of their spot in the standings. But it's a couple red flags for the Phoenix Suns.
Mm.
One, they're on a back to back. Two, they haven't been playing any defense. And you should know how I feel about teams who I can't trust to play defense. I'm not laying big numbers. So, with that said, the Hornets have been playing some soft competition, but they have the rest advantage. Um, like I said, their defensive numbers are good, but looking at who they play, they'll have tougher competition tonight. Just really not trusting the Phoenix Suns is where this play is. You just talked about the fourth quarter rating. They
Mm.
could be up early, but they might not finish strong. I think the Hornets can cover the plus 10.
Yeah, it's kind of where my eye went to early. By the way, Phoenix now 5-6 straight up, 2-9 against the number in their last 11 games. Really impressive stuff there with the big three. Teddy, come on, man. It is as ugly as it gets. You already went ugly with San Antonio and the contrarian gods. Is there another one that might be barking for you tonight?
Yeah. We posted in the thread. That would be the Charlotte Hornets plus 10 against Phoenix. I mean, it's one of these like, look, you got to pick an ugly dog, and this was not a day that I love the dogs. I didn't take any money out of my pocket to bet Charlotte tonight. That being said, clearly Phoenix has the makings of a false favorite. Second of back-to-backs. They played 11 games since the All-Star break. You talk about the 2-9 ATS. You know how many games they've won by more than 10 points? 0. Okay. Got a quote from Steve Clifford talking about how Charlotte plans to play down the stretch. And a lot of times you get the coach's quote saying, yeah, we're going to mix and match. We're going to try things. Here's a quote from Clifford. You want to play your best on the floor as much as you can. Now, for a team like Charlotte, it might not matter all that much. That being said, I'd much rather have guys who are capable NBA players, even if they're not stars, on the floor than a bunch of G leaguers, and that's what I think we're going to see for Charlotte this evening. So yeah, give me the 10.
Going with the 10 here in the Hornets. I will say too, by the way, Suns on back-to-backs, the second of a back-to-back. Those games tend to look under here, 7-4 to the under in those spots here. So keep that in mind as we head over to Rob Vino. And Vino, there is some disgustingness here, but there is a short dog by all intention here. I'm wondering where you might be looking here tonight for a barking one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, let's have a little salute to Tony Finn here and his Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
Home dog, +3. What the heck are the Hawks doing laying 3 to anybody? They go out the other night, lose straight up to Portland. In Portland, first game of the road trip, 106-102. They lose by 13 to New Orleans before that. And now they're going to come play Utah, who actually, guys, is probably really excited to see Atlanta enter the building because their last 2 games have been against Boston and Denver. You can't play any rougher than that. Prior to playing Boston and Denver, Utah was on a 3-0 ATS string. Here, in the same price range, we're taking 3.5 as a home dog from the Bulls, and they got the cover there. Game before that, here against the Washington Wizards, win by 12 straight up. And then prior to that, they go to Miami, take 9, and only lose by 6. So, give Utah some mediocre to lower echelon competition and put them at home where they tend to score much more than they do on the road. I know they don't play any defense. And if you want to talk totals, we could talk totals too in this game. But they're 12-6-1 against the spread as a home dog. And Atlanta's been one of the worst point spread teams from start to finish this year. So why you want to lay with them on the road coming off a loss at Portland? Just not showing me anything. Quinn Snyder coaching at its best. Maybe Utah still has a little grudge or an axe against Quinn Snyder. Who knows? Not factored into the handicap here, but who knows? I'll take Utah plus points at home tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about total in that game, Vino. I think it was, if I read, since Thanksgiving, 24 total games at home here for Utah. 21 have gone over. They are an over machine at home here. And you mentioned it, 0 defense coming. And Atlanta actually 10th in the NBA in road scoring. So You may not like the dogs, but you may like a total or two coming your way here tonight. But we are going to find out because it is time for some best bets here. And once again, a big shout out to those of you joining us here in the chat room, whether it be YouTube Shorts, welcome in. X is in the house, Facebook. We appreciate you guys coming to you here on about 5 or 6 different platforms. We throw 60 seconds on the clock during the best bet section. We give these guys the opportunity to really do and say anything they want as long as they give us a best bet. We'll let Ski show you how it's done as we throw 60 seconds on the clock. 6 games, Ski. Not the biggest of cards, but what's the one game you circled for us for a best bet tonight?
I will go with the rare prop, and that will be in the Raptors and Magic game. I'll look at Suggs over 11.5 points. It might have moved up to 12.5, but I still think he'll get that. And this play I like because the Raptors, they told him that they were going to draft him, and then they went and chose Scotty Barnes. And then, I remember a couple years ago, he was playing in Toronto, and the crowd is just egging him on. They're chanting, Scotty's better. So I pay attention to these games when he plays against the Raptors, and he's had 4 instances. You know, you look at the season, he only averages 12.3 points per game. In those 4 games versus the Raptors, he's averaging 19.5. And he's cleared this 11.5 number 8 of his last 12 games in general. So tonight, he's facing a Raptors defense that's not offering a lot of resistance. I think he'll take advantage and show him up once again. So Suggs over 11.5 points for this better.
All right. Love it. Suggs up and over red hot Orlando Magic here as they continue to roll right into Toronto here tonight. Teddy covers. Come on, man. 60 seconds, 6 games. Give us a best bet here tonight.
Yeah, let's talk NBA Friday night. Before I break down Orlando and Toronto, do want to let you guys know we got a promo code, Teddy3. That'll get you $20 off any 3-day pass. It's good for me. It's good for Ski. It's good for Rob. It's good for anybody. Teddy3 at checkout. $20 off a 3-day pass. Worth noting, I do have a 5% big ticket in college hoops. Tips off in the not too distant future. So if you want to get on board, do that now. Look, Toronto is bet against. Your bottom feeders down the stretch that have let go of the rope, there's no value on those teams. When you're getting smacked around in Detroit, you know, for your 5th consecutive loss, 8th and 9 games for the Raptors at home. Last 3 games, double-digit loss, 3 of the last 4, double-digit loss, double-digit loss, double-digit loss. The only one they were able to get under the number was Charlotte. Orlando beat this team by margin last time out. We trust the Magic on the road. Price is reasonable. Lay it.
Get it done. Lay it with the Orlando Magic. Anybody happen to know if Cade Cunningham is playing tonight? I have to look into that. Rob Vino, what is going on? He's still a game time possession. I don't think he was at the shoot around early. Or what are you seeing, Teddy?
The issue with Cunningham, I think he's going to play. He sat I was watching last night. He sat the 4th quarter. They thought about putting him back in. He wanted to go back in. They're like, no, rest. We need you tomorrow. So now they've listed him as possible rest all day. I don't see any reason why Cade Cunningham sits tonight. I'd be surprised if he does.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that point there. And the line ain't moving. Waiting to hear, that's for sure. Rob Vino, come on, man. 60 seconds on the clock. Just give us the Miami Heat and we'll move on. Go ahead.
We talked about it before. I'm going to go back to the New Orleans Clippers game, but I played it from a specific angle. I played the Pelicans team total up and over 112.5 for a lot of the reasons we described that would be good reasons to play them as the favorite in this game, whether first half or full game. They catch LA in the second of back-to-back. LA gets that win 126-111 last night against Chicago. Chicago was in a similar situation to what the Clippers are in tonight. To compound it, though, Chicago was without Kobe White, maybe their best shooter from the perimeter, so that helped LA in that particular game. This time the Pelicans are the healthy group. We don't know who the Clippers are going to actually come with. New Orleans is, it's kind of immune to venue, guys. 116 plus at home, 116 plus scored on the road. Doesn't really matter. That 95-point effort the other night. I think they get a bounce back from, especially from 3. The numbers seem light enough for me to go ahead and fade the Clippers defense and play the team total for New Orleans over 112.5.
All right. Boom, over 112.5. I'm sensing a theme here on today's show here, guys. 6 games on the board. Let's recap them here for you. Those of you just entirely too lazy on this replay to actually hear anything they just said. It is going to be the Pelicans team total over for Rob Vino. Let's just hope they get there before the fourth quarter. Over 112.5 there. We also have Suggs. Love this look here by Ski. Suggs, 11.5 points up and over on that one. And Teddy Cover says, don't let's just not overthink it here, people. The Magic lay the 8. Toronto, 3 other guys got hurt and just doing this show right now. So they literally have nobody left there. Magic lay it with the 8. And keep an eye out, of course, for Cade Cunningham here. And I'm kind of with Teddy. I think he is going at market, hovering still right around the 8 mark. And if you head over to Ski's page, Teddy gave you the code there, as well as Rob Vino. All 3 of these guys locked, loaded, ready to roll here, not just today, but all weekend long here. Love it. 6 games in the NBA, loaded card over the weekend, plenty of college hoops, guys. And don't look now. All 3 of these guys know, you know what happens next week, right? You know what starts next week? Yeah, you know, Ski, the Dodgers are back, front and center, baby. The Major League Baseball will be right around the corner, and we'll have you covered, of course. First pitch, we'll be back next week, and we will get it rolling. But until then, let's cash a few tickets tonight here in the association. Once again, a big shout-out, Professor Chris Have in the house. Cupid Beats, as long as Big Daddy there. Jay, we appreciate all you guys. Hit that thumbs up before you're out of here, guys. And, of course, hit the subscribe button if you're new to us here at WagerTalk.com. We certainly appreciate the support. And on behalf of these 3 guys, best of luck with all the plays tonight and this weekend. Come back and join us on Monday, another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show. Until then, go cash some tickets, guys. We'll talk to you again on Monday. Good luck.